What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. So I hope you all are having a fantastic morning. Brandon, what's up? First one on board. Thank you so much for joining in. Let me know in the live chat if you guys can see the screen and hear me without any issues. That's the first thing. You want to make sure that technically you don't have any issues. So, Doctor, welcome on board. Let me know in the live chat if you guys can see the screen and hear me without any issues. So that we can get started. Hello. Good morning. Positive vibes. I love the name. All right, he can hear you. Perfect. You guys can see me too. So I have everything set up. So I've got Bloomberg, CNBC. I've got a lot of different cool things now. Perfect. All right, welcome on board. Market's flat. So the Nasdaq is not doing anything, down about 1 basis point, and the S&P is also pretty much flat on the day, as flat as it can get. We're just awaiting a lot of economic data that's coming out later this week and going into next week. We're gonna get, of course, inflation, unemployment's coming out this tomorrow and Friday. So tomorrow is gonna be the ADP report, and Friday is gonna be the actual government non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. And then going into next week, we actually have Jerome Powell also speaking tomorrow. And then going into next week, we've got the inflation numbers and we've got a lot of other economic data, such as the interest rate decision. The crude oil inventories actually came in much stronger than expected, which is why we're actually seeing energy do well. So look at this. So oil prices, if you look at UK oil, it's going to be Brent crude over $71 per barrel. US oil, it's going to be crude oil, another up over 0.5%, trading past over $68. And we saw ExxonMobil, Chevron both rallying even higher. So we had Chevron at 2.71% yesterday, and it's up another 61 basis points, and Exxon also up over 0.5% pre-market. So see that rally. For the energy space, we also broke that down. AMC, on the other hand, it's up another 20% pre-market, hitting a new all-time highs. Support us Vive. Thank you so much. Yes, like and subscribe. That would really help out the channel in a tremendous way. So thank you so much for joining in, you guys. So let's do a quick rundown on some of the stocks that are trading pre-market, and then we'll kind of break down some of your guys' requests, and then go over any stocks that you would like to kind of go over and for us to break down. So this is going to be AMC, up over 20%, trading up to $38.65. That's absolutely phenomenal. NEO pulling back a little bit, down about 45 basis points as of the time of this video. And we've got Tesla, which is down about 0.5%. We've got Apple, that is also down a little bit over, well, it's actually pretty flat on the day. I just want to make sure that the stream is going on without any issues. So it seems like everything has paused. That's all right, there we go. All right, now I'm getting some messages again. I thought I lost you guys for a second there. But yeah, NEO is seeing that pullback a little bit, down about 60 basis points. Do you think NEO will break the 43.25 resistance today? It's hard to say because yesterday we had that run up because of the delivery report that we had, and today I feel like the market is going to be in some type of an indecision mode. Heading into tomorrow and Friday, because those are going to be two really important days, especially this week, because Jerome Powell is also going to be speaking. And then as we gain more clarity, I think June 15th is the deadline, or kind of like the date that I want everybody to observe, because after that we're going to have a lot more clarity on the macros. So until then, I could see a flat market consolidating sideways, and then kind of decisions based off of those inflation numbers and on all those things. So people forgetting NEO is almost up 40% from the recent low. It's gonna pull back. Yes, yeah, I do agree. I mean, NEO has been up, rallying from lows of $30. So this right here is the complete analysis, and you'll notice that we are up quite a bit. So let's go over to our 4-hour chart. Let's remove all these trend lines, and this is the rally that we are seeing for NEO, right? From lows of $30, we are up over 39, almost 40%. All right, let's take a listen in on this very quickly. See what they have to say here.
Companies. So I think we will see, obviously, this second half of the year, we'll see U.S. oil production starting to go up again, but I think at a modest rate, and I think there is a new social contract between the shale producers and their investors And that does mean that maintaining a certain discipline and not going for growth at any cost.
Hold on a sec. Can you elaborate what this social contract is? Does it have to do with climate change, or does it have to do with the idea that their debt, that their equity has been whipsawed by the different price action in oil, and that investors don't want to see that again?
It is your second option. It's about money, and that many shale producers were spending beyond their cash flow. Now they've turned around. Some have dividends or sort of variable dividends. They're paying down debt. That's been their focus, that they have to show to investors that they will be prudent managers. And that comes with consolidation. We used to follow at IHS Markit 60 shale companies. As consolidation proceeds, as some companies disappear, we're down really getting closer to 20.
Dan, it would be rude if we did not add.
All right, we'll kind of tune back into that. But let's take a look at some of the other stocks. So NEO is definitely pulling back, down about 64 basis points. Let's take a look at some of the other pre-market movers. And AMD, slightly up, 35 basis points, trading back over $81 per share, so that's good. They also scored Tesla as one of their customers. So let's start with AMC over here. So I feel like a lot of the stocks are pretty much flat except for AMC that's rallying pre-market. Good morning, everyone. I hope you have a strong trading day. AMC up 20% pre-market. That's insane. I agree. That is crazy. I mean, we were up a little bit over 30%. I think they were hitting new all-time highs of over $42. $44.75 high for the day. If you go over to the monthly chart, I mean, this has never been, like, this is uncharted territory. Right? I mean, we have never seen these levels for AMC in the history of the stock since it's publicly traded, right? So it's absolutely incredible, like incredible momentum. Never seen anything like it, and the volume month over month has just been astronomical. Month of January was 4.6 billion shares. Month of May, which we closed last Friday, 3.4, almost 3.5 billion shares traded, and this month we have already crossed over 500 million. Can you believe that? We've already crossed over 500 million. This is the second trading day of the month, and we're already over 500 million. It's insane. That is absolutely incredible. Do you think SPY and QQQ is weak? What's the outlook for June? So for the first couple weeks, the outlook for me, like personally, I'm expecting either some consolidation or some mild pullbacks for the broader markets, because there is going to be inflation. We are going to see that sharp increase going into next week because of the base effects falling out once again. Because when you look over year comps, April, May, and June of 2020 was basically deflationary time, so to speak, where prices were coming down because people weren't spending any money, so the demand was non-existent. So once we see the reopening of the economy, demand kind of go up, I do expect that in the short term, inflation is going to be portrayed as more scary as it is, because year-over-year comps again are going to look pretty bad. But moving forward, towards the second half of the year, and starting like June 16th and 17th, as we get more clarity on interest rates and some other macroeconomic data points. Like today, we don't have much. We have the Federal Reserve's Beige Book coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern, which I will break down. I mean, I won't be live until then, but I will be breaking that down after the markets close. And probably you'll see that video tonight, where we break down. It's going to be, I think, a 60-page report. So it'll be like a good amount, a couple hours that I will be spending reading that and going over, what the Federal Reserve's district banks have to say about the current state of the economy. So it's going to go over 12 different federal districts. So we'll break that down. And then other than that, we have the API crude oil stock report, which you already know the demand for oil is pretty strong, which is what's driving prices higher. So we had the Brent and crude oil also push up higher. So that's kind of like my macro thesis. And again, going into the second half of the year, I feel more confident on tech and growth as we gain more clarity on the interest rates and other sort of economic data points. Because unemployment rate, I do believe like after September, we're going to see unemployment rate come down drastically. Right now, we may be like under 6%. After tomorrow, we may dip below 6%. Because I think month over month, we actually went up from 6 to 6.1%. We can take a look at that one in 1 second. But after September, once the unemployment benefits kind of expire, kids go back to school, more and more parents can basically go back into the workforce, I do expect the unemployment rate and the average hourly earnings also come down substantially, and that's where we're going to see, a full reopening of the economy and kind of like a full substantial further progress, so to speak, what Jerome Powell also keeps saying. So the second half of the year, I feel more confident about tech and growth. First 6 months has been kind of like the opportunity to accumulate more and more sort of tech and growth names. But I was also watching Bloomberg earlier, and there was this investor who basically said that earlier we had a lot of tech stocks that were the winners. They were the clear winners if you look at big tech and FANG names. And it was always this idea on Wall Street that you want to own growth and rent value, meaning that you want to have to basically be in those short-term trades for value when the economy suggests that it's value's time versus growth. That's what we're seeing right now. But now moving forward with the Federal Reserve's policy, what he was saying is now I think there's a paradigm shift where you want to own value and rent growth, which to me was very interesting to learn more about, but I would have to disagree with them basically because I feel like growth still has a pretty long runway, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, as we see, the full sort of cycle for some of those companies like Amazon and Tesla, some of those companies that are still got a huge runway ahead of them, especially advanced micro devices that I feel like is very undervalued at the moment. All right, so NIO is down about 45 basis points after having a really strong day yesterday. And what's up, DJ? What's up, Madeline? What's up, Rizwan? Thank you for joining in. E-commerce boom here to stay. Etsy CEO. All right, let's listen in on Etsy's CEO. Let me know if you guys can hear this without any issues. So that would be absolutely great. And we can listen on this.
Okay, while some kids are buying vintage clothes for like $20, I'm buying these things for like, I don't know, I'm not even going to mention what they cost.
There might be someone making custom-made shoes on Etsy,
Actually,
right?
there is. I'm looking right now. There's a pair for $200.
There's actually hundreds of thousands of pairs of custom-made shoes made just for you on Etsy.
Jimmy
Just
Choo
not
here.
custom-made Jimmy Choo
brands,
These
cool
are.
brand.
I'm looking
Yeah?
right now. $219.
$219 for used
Yeah, $325 for these.
amplifiers and guitars. I can see thongs, underwear. I don't know. That's a little weird for me, Josh. But thank you for.
All right, we're gonna circle back to that later. CNBC always has like a lot of commercials compared to Bloomberg. All right, so let's take a look at some of the other stocks here. What are you guys thinking about pre-market? I mean, AMC is probably the only one that's moving pre-market. If you look at our hot list here, yesterday's percent change gainers, we had ticker symbols OEG that was up over 115%. Orbital Energy. So TradingView also has like all these different volume gainers and volume losers and different percentage gainers and losers. So of course AMC is probably on the list too. Right there. So it's got this spot up over 22%, but then a lot of other stocks were also up. Hashtag Citadel is strong. So yeah, I mean it's I haven't been following AMC all that much, but I do I think there's still 20-21% short interest, and I think it's going up like a couple of percentage points each a day, which is only leading up to like a much bigger and bigger squeeze in the future. But that's pretty bold, like from the hedge funds to like continue to try and short this thing. And we know with what happens with shorting, right? Once you're going short, the losses can be theoretically unlimited because there's no cap to how high the stocks can actually go, as opposed to when you're taking a long position, the lowest a stock can actually go is basically zero, right? The company can go bankrupt. But with the other side, it's just absolutely incredible if you don't have a proper a plan and a strategy where you are getting out of that trade. You can theoretically kind of blow up the whole account, and the losses can be unlimited. All right, so in my opinion, NIO drops down to 40, then make it way back up. What do you think? I agree. I think it has to come down a little bit to kind of revalidate some of the support, some of the resistance levels that we broke out over the last couple of days. I mean, the last few days, NIO, or pretty much the last couple of weeks, I should say, it's been up over 40%. So I think it'll be best if you do take a little bit of a breather, come down, $42, maybe $40 per share, validate those levels before making the next leg up higher. I don't know, for some reason I am a little concerned about Tesla with the way that the price action is forming. Like, we're just really weak for Tesla's volume and the price itself. So, this right here is the complete technical breakdown from our previous videos. And you know, we were down 21 basis points, not a huge deal. We're still down 30 basis points pre-market, not a huge deal either. But it's just that, I don't know, the volume looks very sketchy right now. We're on a declining volume, only 18 million shares traded, and you know, 590 and like 620 is the support. Like pre-market we tagged 620 literally right to the point, and 622 is the low from yesterday. So 622 is where we're trading right now. 620 was a low from yesterday, and you know, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a retest of 590 and trade below 600 here, because Tesla has pushed up from lows of here, but I don't know, I do get a sense that we may see some more downside for Tesla before we see some upside. I could be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but you know, there is some overhead supply for Tesla at 650s. That's going to be the same as NIO, so that's going to be perfectly aligned at that 50 EMA. So that's the level to watch. All right. So, all right, I like the pullback pre-market for NIO. Gives me a chance for more buyers to get on board. That's good, Adam. That's awesome. I just wanted to ask if the stock prices will drop due to inflation fear. So we just covered that earlier. You know, on the macroeconomics side of things, that there is potentially going to be some volatilities for the VIX and the VXN. Those are both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. So if you go over to, actually, let me go over to a different chart. So we are gonna go over to this one. And we are going to cover. Alright, so we are going to go over to this one. And so we're gonna go over VIX, and this is something to watch. We are up another 22 basis points today. Yesterday we were up, you know, close to 6%. At one point we were up over 9%. So would not be surprised if we do see that volatility spike, right? So Key says Tesla's losing love. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the stock market has just been this huge game of where focus and attention goes, right? Some stocks get a lot of volume sometimes, and a lot of stocks just don't get the volume at all. Like, this is a really thinly traded session for Tesla. It has been for the past like several days. You know, it's been a declining volume. So 20 million shares, 18 million shares. Versus like earlier when we were rallying, it was like at least 67, 70 million shares, and we were almost at the same price points. Like here, you know, coming back from December levels, the price point was the same, right? So it doesn't matter how many shares you're trading. The volume was 60 to 70 million, versus now it's like 1/3 of that volume right now. So that's why I feel like it's not getting as much attention. Amazon, I'm waiting for that stock split. I don't think it's coming. I don't think Amazon will be doing that. Because they just haven't done that at all. I think they've only done it twice, and that was you know, back in 1999s and 2000s, and that's it. That was the last time. Still waiting for Amazon to go to the moon. Amazon, it's funny that you mentioned that. I was reading this morning that Amazon's Alexa is actually Amazon is getting sued by a lot of consumers in some wiretapping violations, because Alexa has apparently been recording people's conversations for data and for enhancing the artificial intelligence experience for the users, which can be, you know, and a violation of the wiretapping laws in the United States. So they are getting sued, and I think I read somewhere it was like 70,000 customers have filed complaints or something. Let me see if I can find that catalyst. I mean, it's not moving crazy pre-market. We're still up over 20 basis points. And, you know, how much is that going to have a material impact on Amazon's business? It's kind of hard to judge at this point. But we don't have much on that right now. So open disaster relief, because Amazon is also like in so many different things. There's going to be an abundance of different pieces of news on Amazon. So no Alexa in my home ever. That's good. I have one right there in my room. So when is the inflation data coming out, and what data are we expecting today? So that's a great question. This is the calendar. You guys get this from our Discord. I posted it. You can also get it from our Patreon. You can also screenshot this right now if you want to. Here, let me see why isn't it. Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah, so you can also screenshot this if you want to. I'm not sure why that's happening. Let me reopen that up. And it has like the dates and the timestamps on when something is coming out. Oh, that's probably because I deleted it. Here, let me see if I can re-download this. Let me get it from the Discord. So yeah, what happened to your iPad, bro? I have it right here. I have the iPad right over here. So, you know, I have that. It's just, I'm trying to figure out, because I'm a Windows user. So like I use, for my computer, I use Windows. And I don't have like a iOS device. So it's kind of hard for me to like mirror it constantly while looking at different things. So that's the only issue. But other than that, I love it. It's great. All right, there we go. So yeah, today we don't have really much anything. So MBA mortgage applications at 7 a.m. And then 2 p.m. Federal Reserve's beige book and crude oil stock. Tomorrow and Friday are going to be 2 important days. So out of all these days, the days that you really want to watch for June are going to be these. Thursday, so that's tomorrow. Friday, which is going to be June 4th. That's going to close out the week. So today's already Wednesday. And next week, next Thursday, right, we're going to get the inflation numbers. And the following Tuesday, so June 15th, and 16th, the Wednesday, right, June 16th. So those right there are going to be 5 days to watch, you know, in the month of June, that are going to be really, really important. So good morning from Germany, Nicholas. We can take a look at Palantir for sure in just a second. So yeah, those right there are going to be 5 days to watch in the month of June. Super, super important. There's a few things that don't happen every month, like the interest rate decisions don't happen every month. The Federal Reserve's beige book doesn't happen every single month. CPI, PPI numbers do come out every month, and so does the unemployment. But we're also in this you know, market right now where a lot of the weight is being put on the economics. So that's what's going to drive the markets moving forward, I feel like, a lot. Right, so let's see if there's anything to listen to from on cryptocurrencies here.
But in terms of the value, when you look at the value of Bitcoin today in the 30s, the 30,000s now, do you say to yourself, this is a cheap buy because you're a long-term believer this is going to be worth $500,000, $1 million a coin, as some of the, you know, real bulls, the diamond hands would say? Sure. Or do you say, you know what, actually $30,000 makes sense to me? Or maybe it doesn't make sense to me at all and I think it's actually worth $5,000.
Yeah, so I think each one of these crypto assets has its own valuation thesis, let's just say, but I'm extraordinarily long on things like Bitcoin and Ether. I think these are going to become more and more important as digital commodities in the world. I think the multi-$100,000 concepts are quite accurate, very likely, and I do think, you know, Ether and what is happening with Ethereum is phenomenal and is very distinct from Bitcoin as well, and has an enormous amount of potential for many different types of applications that are going to get built
Jeremy,
on top of it.
Given the amount of technological innovation in this space, even in the last couple of years, why don't you think it's possible that some other currency comes along, a cryptocurrency comes along, that is better than a Bitcoin, that is better than an Ethereum? And why doesn't that effectively push down the value of those things in favor of the better innovation?
I think it's plausible, of course, that competition changes these dynamics. I mean, I think we only have to go back to, you know, the late 1990s or different generations of the internet to see, you know, incredible companies, and if you want to use these digital assets as proxies for thinking about, you know, the ecosystems that get built around different platforms. There is a lot of competition. There's a huge amount of competition in the next generation of blockchains and the underlying assets of those. And so, you know, generally speaking, I agree. There's going to be continued cycles of new innovations that are going to grow and create a lot of value. I think, you know, people are certainly looking at things like Bitcoin and Ethereum today as, you know, long-term, you know, very likely to be here.
Okay. Jeremy Lair, it's great to see you. Appreciate it.
Great to see you.
All right, so Yeah, so guys, make sure that you drop a like. It really helps out the channel. Hopefully I don't forget, but thank you so much for that. So, all right. So the economic data that's coming out, again, we've covered that. You can go back on the live stream and check out the calendar that we just broke down earlier. So again, this is the one that's coming out. So not so many important things, but my main focus is going to be 2 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be the beige book that's coming out. That comes out 8 times a year from the Federal Reserve. So QQQs, the Nasdaq is pretty much flat. Again, there's no movement, very muted moves. Let's take a look at Amazon, which is up slightly over 23 basis points. Advanced Micro Devices, we are up another 24 basis points. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple is pretty much flat once again. Palantir is so Palantir was up yesterday. So we validated that support at 2230 levels. So this right here was the complete analysis. We did break out over those moving averages, and my analysis for Palantir moving forward is more consolidation sideways between like $21 besides $24.30. We could see some more consolidation for Palantir as well, because similar to NEO, this stock has also made quite a bit of a move, up over 45% since like earlier May. So it's been quite a bit of a rally here, and moving forward, would not be surprised if we do see some more consolidation here for Palantir. So just want to make sure that there's not any NEO news for Palantir here. Let's take a look at, so is Skills rallying? So Skills, let's take a look. So that's going to be on a different chart. So AMC up over 22%, still rallying over almost $39-40 per share. What do you guys think? What is AMC's price target here? Let me know in the live chat what you guys think is going to be AMC's price target, and where is it going to be trading soon. So for Skills, we are up another 7%. That's pretty strong, right? So we pushed up, got rejected at that resistance, pulled back, had a pretty much of an overextension below this downtrending channel, and right now we're making that recovery once again. So what is the acquisition? TradingView is not covering, so Smike said $50. That's good. So this is an older catalyst from May. No idea on AMC, won't even guess. Yeah, I mean, this is actually the first time I'm seeing like a more prolonged short squeeze, right? Where the shorts have not started, so to speak, because the short interest is still pretty there, that they haven't really started yeah, but like Skills, let me see if I can find a catalyst here. It's definitely up over 7% here. All right, there we go. So Skills to acquire Archie to form first integrated esports advertising platform. Archie's advanced machine learning algorithms to be augmented by Skills' deep first-party data. And then Archie's reach of more than 465 million monthly users will expand Skills' player acquisition capabilities. Acquisition agreement expected to close in the third quarter of 2021. How much did they actually pay for them? So Skills will acquire 100% of Archie for approximately $150 million in cash and stock. The transaction is subject to customary closing conditions and is expected to close in the third quarter of 2021. So headquartered in California, 160 employees will join Skills workforce. Robust first-party data to create unrivaled value proposition for the game developers. Interesting. 150 million. Not sure if there are actually a public company. Probably not. So yeah, I don't know if they had a ticker there. It's double A. Let me see if I can find that, if they're not a public company. All right, so they're not. But 150 million is what they're paying, so up over 7%, trading past over $18 per share. The resistance to keep in mind for Skills is still going to be at 2150 levels. Adam is asking me, do you think Dogecoin is a long-term buy? What does everybody else think? What does everybody else think? Let me know. Let us know in the live chat. Adam and I are curious as to what you guys think for Dogecoin and whether it's a long-term buy or not. Rita, welcome on board. How long does inflation fears usually affect growth stocks in months, and also rates max time of pressure on those stocks? That's a great question. I'll answer this in just a second, but let me see what people are saying. So nope. Satoshi says yes, it is. Sudhir says no. But yeah, we're seeing more no's and we're seeing yes. It really depends on the use case, right? What is the utility behind Dogecoin? And the argument is that it's going to replace the fiat currency, which is the US dollar. But I would have been more confident with Dogecoin if it wasn't inflationary in nature, where you can't basically mine 10,000 Dogecoins per minute or over 5 billion per year, which is basically, of course, diluting the value that it holds. So that's the biggest use case Dogecoin really had, was a transaction speed, and of course the easeability of transacting in Dogecoin as a replacement currency. But I feel like it's not going to be any different than using the fiat currency in general, because US dollars can be printed while Dogecoin can also be mined more. So if it had a cap, or if there's a way to regulate the cap, then yes, I think it has a very strong use case. But as it stands right now, I feel like it's a very tough decision to make, right? Whether it has a lot of long-term value. I'm sure there's a lot of money to be made in the short term with speculation. A lot of people have actually done that and been very successful. But long term, it's very premature to actually make a judgment on it right now with the amount of data that we have on it. All right, let's listen on this very quickly. Elon Musk coming on here.
That Musk had violated the requirement that his tweets be approved by company lawyers. That happened twice, once in 2019 and once last year. I think that's major progress for him. You know what I mean?
Getting under control, yeah.
Twice in 3 years.
Well, so but I think the hard part is I think the SEC is scared to bring a case against him.
In case they lose?
In case they lose, because they have a defense. In each case, Elon Musk Group Tesla has a defense for why he did it. And if they were to lose these cases,
then
it becomes a much bigger problem for this whole sort of social media enabled CEO communication.
So you're
companies.
throwing down to the SEC. You're daring them to have the.
I'm saying if you're Gary Gensler, these are hard cases to bring. I think that's what I was.
Hard cases to win.
That's what I was. Easy cases to bring, right? Yeah. Hard cases to win, and that's sort of why I was saying to Jay, has social media effectively
former SEC director Jay Clayton, yeah,
defanged effectively the SEC because even the original case, if you remember, the judge said, "We want you to settle this case. Go settle it," because I think the judge knew that it was going to be a tough case for both sides.
Right. It's always better to settle, I think. But if you aren't familiar, the requirement.
My bad. So yeah, there we go. There was another catalyst that came out earlier this morning, about an hour ago. Should be fine now. The Tesla recalls. No sound? Still? All right, should be now. All right, yeah, there we go. Tesla recalls nearly 6,000 U.S. cars over potentially loose bolts. So that was something that came out today. So 6,000 U.S. vehicles because brake caliper bolts could be loose with the potential to cause loss of tire pressure. Documents made public on Wednesday's show came out about an hour ago. And Tesla chair says car maker plans to spend $1 billion annually on Australian minerals. And this was the article that came out, right? So SEC letter claims Tesla failed to oversee Musk's tweet that we broke down in our yesterday's video. So in correspondence sent to Tesla in 2019 and 2020, the SEC said tweets Musk wrote about Tesla's Solar Roof production volumes and its stock price were not pre-approved by Tesla's lawyers. Not really sure which tweets are they referring to here, but very, very interested to find out about that. All right, so let's take a look at Digital Turbine here, APPS. So we are pre-market, we're up a little bit over 1%, and this is a stock that we covered, I think, over the weekend. This actually runs on earnings almost every single time. It has done that over the last like couple years, right? So you can go back over since 2018. And you'll notice that we have seen that rally after the earnings. Doesn't always gap up and lead to a follow through. It can take up to several days where we've seen that rally, right? This is in November 2018, a 49% jump for Digital Turbine. 48% jump here in February of 2019. This right here was June 2019, another jump of 35% for Digital Turbine, 30% jump here, 22%, and this is always after the earnings, right? We basically were forming some type of a downtrending channel, sold off because of the pandemic in March 2020, heavy volume breakout in June, so same time last year, 60% jump here after the earnings. This right here, another rally of 92% for the company, 51% jump here, and another 59% jump here. So we are up another 1.64%. The resistance I would watch is the 50 exponential moving average sitting at $68.90, right? 68.90 is going to be the resistance for us to see if we can get that breakout on heavy volume. And let's break down their earnings. So Digital Turbine fiscal Q4 earnings revenue rise. So they actually did report for the fourth quarter fiscal year 2021. So actually weird fiscal year where they're not aligned with the calendar year. They're actually reporting for the full year and the Q4, and they're actually starting their 2022 fiscal year. It's the same with NVIDIA. NVIDIA and Digital Turbine, they're both in like this strange fiscal year where they start in advance, way in advance, as opposed to the calendar year. So reported non-GAAP EPS for Q4 on net income of 25 cents per share. That's actually better than the expected estimates from 5 cents a year ago, while revenue increased 142% to well over 95 million. So the estimates were 93 million. They came in at 95.1 million. So analysts polled by Capital IQ had been expecting Digital Turbine to earn 20 cents per share on 95.1 million revenue. So according to them, it's on par with the revenue. But another source that I gathered was 93 million. That's the expectations. And we're seeing that double beat so far. So the top line and the bottom line beat. For fiscal Q1, the company is projecting non-GAAP profit of 31 cents per share on $188 million, $192 million revenue. So their first quarter is actually the best quarter, and Q4 is actually one of the worst ones. So they are very seasonal in that way as well, similar to what we've seen with Apple. And Q1, 188 to $192 million in revenue. So that right there is going to be the complete report. So guidance coming in strong. We are up another 1.5%. And 68.90 is going to be the level to watch, like intraday. So why can't Baba rip? So Baba, we had a swing trade. This wasn't like a long-term trade on this. We had a swing trade on this stock with a resistance at 225. Entry was at 212. So right now, the whole idea behind this swing trade was because the pattern is still weak. We're still forming these lower highs, which is why I didn't want to, basically address anybody on that trade to buy and hold on this, because there's no successful trend reversal yet, which is why you can swing trade this with an asymmetric bet where you have very limited downside and you have some upside here. But buying and holding this for the long term right now is basically suggesting that you are okay with that short-term risk that Alibaba could have if we were to break down even further. So if you were to buy and hold this, of course, the core business remains strong. It's super undervalued, in my opinion, for Alibaba for what it brings to the table. But wait for a successful confirmation and a breakout over the 50 exponential moving average, breakout over these lower highs, so it can actually form some type of an uptrending pattern, some higher highs on heavy volume. So right now, we don't have any of those, right? And none of those indicators actually line up. So right now, it's just going to be really weak. We're going to potentially continue to trade inside this range until we see a more successful, confident follow through for the price action. So right now, just watch this descending triangle get filled, and then we'll have more clarity as to what we can expect moving forward. So SB blocks. All right, so let's take a look at what that is. What is the ticker symbol here for this? SB Blocks is let's. Yes, earnings came out for Zoom. Let's take a look. So Zoom. So we are up 69 basis points, just shy of 330. And let's take a look at their earnings. So raises guidance as hybrid working model expected to underpin product market expansion plans. So that's one of the big things. I was actually watching Bloomberg earlier today as well, and there's a lot of actually employees that don't want to go back into the office. There's a big debate, whether we're going to see a lot of employees go back into the workforce, and some of them are actually even quitting because they're being called back into the office, which is very interesting. So we may actually be forming some type of a hybrid working model moving forward, unless it's absolutely essential and necessary for workers to go into the office. Like I know a lot of the construction work, like landscaping, hospitality, like those industries can't really have the leisure to be working from home. Of course not, but other things like banking and insurance and the service industries can certainly work from the leisure of being home. So I think there's gonna be a mixed balance between the two. But reading Zoom Video Communications, the online video conferencing group, said that the hybrid model of working is quote unquote here to stay, and plans to increase capital expenditures to support its improved outlook for sales and earnings growth for the full year, aiming to build on the first quarter beat. In fiscal 2022, the San Jose, California-based now sees adjusted earnings per share rate of $4.56 to $4.61, compared with the previous guidance of $3.59 to $3.65. It is now projecting revenue in the range of $3.98 to $3.99 billion versus earlier guidance of $3.76 to $3.78 billion. So definitely seeing that increase. I'm more interested in Zoom Phone as well. Hope I can be working from home. Can't really watch this from the office. Dave, you're at the office? I used to watch live streams at the office too when I was in Boston. The company is seeing acceleration in momentum in the Zoom price. Zoom Phone, which was launched in 2019, it hit a 1 million mark in December, and then another 500,000 since the end of last year. With the return to the office on everyone's mind, Zoom Rooms is an area of huge opportunity for the company. From 25 to more than 30%, I think we do see a lot of opportunities from either EMEA, which is going to be Europe, Middle East, Africa, or Asia Pacific, Japan. A lot of opportunities right now. We've got to invest more. So revenue for February to April period totaled $956.2 million, almost tripled compared with $328 million same time last year. So almost a 3x for the revenue growth year over year. The street forecast was $908 million, so they are seeing that revenue beat. The company reported almost 2,000 customers contributing more than $100,000 in trailing 12-month revenue. Actually, this number has gone up substantially. Like this was nowhere close to 2,000 people or customers paying them $100,000 per year. That's up 160% year over year. And in line with higher sales, adjusted EPS jumped to $1.32 from 20 cents. That's an incredible increase there. Analysts polled by Capital IQ expected 98 cents per share. So top line revenue beat, bottom line EPS beat. We've got future guidance expansion, so raising their future guidance on this hybrid model. And we're getting the 2,000 customers, 160% increase, paying $100,000 per year to the company. So the increase in demand and strong execution drove net income profitability. Looking at the rest of the fiscal year, we expect to increase our CapEx related to ongoing data center expansion to support our growth outlook. Let's see if I do have any technical analysis on this. So we don't. We can actually do some right now. What's going on with NEO? Should I sell for now and buy when it drops again? Alex, that's a great question. Really depends on your time horizon. Was your plan to actually swing trade this or day trade this? If so, 45% increase over the last couple of weeks is huge for NEOs. If you were planning on swing trade this, if your price target was roughly over $40, then yes, it makes sense why you may want to consider trimming some of that position. But if you're in it for the long term, because this stock, in my strong opinion, is easily worth over $100 per share, then I would just be not doing anything today, because we are just seeing a mild pullback, in aligned with the S&P and the Nasdaq. So I'm not doing anything today for NEO. It has been quite a bit of a rally here, but it really depends on your time horizon and what your price target is on NEO stock. All right, so Zoom has seen quite a bit of a rally here, coming in from January 2020, rallied all the way to 588. And more recently, we've seen this right here kind of like been the pattern. So making lower highs and lower lows, very, very easy for us to understand this downtrending channel that it's forming. So we just continue to make these lower highs. And right now we are getting tagged at this 281 support. So that right there is going to be the level to watch as a support. And of course, if you can get that breakout over this resistance and a breakout over 451, that's going to be a successful trend reversal for Zoom. So I'd say the resistance to watch right now is going to be sitting roughly at these levels, at close to 350s. That's the resistance to watch for Zoom. To get a previous breakout, so previous support, validated resistance, we're just consistently getting rejected at this level at $345 to $350. All right, so Tom, thank you so much. 234 people watching. Make sure that you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. So thank you so much for that. And first bought it at 45, then I dropped my average to 39 with 97 shares. Thank you for applying, means a lot. Perfect, awesome. So let's take a look at Crispr Therapeutics. All right. Let's see what that stock is doing. It's down a lot, right, from its all-time highs. Unchanged right now, 112 still validated. 98 is going to be the support below that. There's resistance levels all the way as 113 or 136 to as 145 and 165. I'll actually go ahead and clean up this chart a little bit. We don't need those levels right now, not at least until we get there. But there was a negative divergence there, huge bearish divergence from the price and the RSI. So you'll notice that we were coming down, making lower highs, and then we broke down even further. Drawdown of over 56%. For Crispr Therapeutics. So support levels to watch 112 all the way as well as $98. Let's see if there's any pieces of catalyst. So this is an older catalyst, so we don't have anything new that's coming out for Crispr Therapeutics. So we'll kind of circle back to that. So quick update on the markets, still pretty flat, and QQQs are up only 3 basis points, and the SPY is up 4 basis points. And VIX up 28 basis points. Let's take a look at these stocks over here. Let's see how AMC is doing. So it is pulling back a little bit. We are up 19% pre-market, but we have seen that pull back from highs of $44. Yesterday, Murdoch Capital, was it Murdoch or was it something else? I think it started with M. So they actually bought shares, and then on the same day they actually ended up selling, and quoting that that AMC is overvalued. Someone faster the cat is the best YouTube investor I've seen. Anyone working harder to find the answers on price movement. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. So AMC had a catalyst yesterday, which was very interesting. 8.5 million shares that they bought, and then they actually sold it in the open market right away, and quoted, their shares are overvalued. I'll pull that up on the news sections if I can see something or hear it. But even then, we're still seeing that momentum carry us forward, right? 20%, 38.50. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible for AMC. All right, so NEO is pulling back. We're almost down about 1% on the day, so coming down under $42 per share. Yesterday was very successful for the breakout. So XPeng basically says, they were going to be, actually I read this earlier, so they're going to be posting a strong delivery results in May, even as chip supply issues remain. So we could see a very similar sort of report from NEO as well. Here, let me see if I can find that, because I did read something very similar. It should be on Webull. Let me bring that up. All right, so Corsair Gaming. Let's take a look at that one. All right, so Corsair Gaming, we're gonna go over to this chart and we're gonna type in CRSR. Corsair Gaming has been on the move a little bit. It was up over 3.2% yesterday, and we are up another 1% today. I'm surprised there's no technical analysis on this right now. I'm pretty sure I did some. Nope, no technical analysis here either. Interesting. So, all right, we'll just do one right now. But Corsair, it's part of our growth portfolio as well. Do see it being a long-term winner in the gaming industry. I don't think they're reporting their earnings. They did report their earnings, which were strong. So this right here, Corsair Gaming's Q1 earnings, revenue climb, increased 2021 net revenue guidance. And this was one of the reasons, this was one of the theses, in fact, behind my analysis on this, was that they are actually underestimating how much they're going to grow in 2021, right? With the rate at which gaming is growing, and Corsair's products across the board have 5-star reviews, and they are so much in demand, and people actually love their products. Headsets, keyboards, whatever the case may be. So they are actually increasing their guidance is very aligned with my own analysis. What I was expecting is them under promising and kind of over delivering, very similar to advanced micro devices, that if somebody's increasing their guidance, that's good. That's very strong in terms of the visibility that they have remainder of this year, the guidance and the demand levels that they foresee. But earnings came in 58 cents per share, up 13 cents. So that's huge increase year over year, and a 33 cents to 58 cents beat as well in EPS, so profitable company, which we have also covered in the past. Net revenues jumped to 529 million, up from 308 million. Forecast was 453, so huge beat there as well. The stock didn't do anything. The stock didn't move much, right? It's just still been consolidating sideways, and we're still under the 21 and the 50 EMA, which is very interesting. But the computer hardware company increased net revenue guidance for full year to between 1.9 to $2 billion from earlier 1.8 to 1.95 billion. So 2.1 on the higher end is what they're expecting moving forward. But support sits at just under $30 per share. So that right there is going to be the level to watch as a support. And you'll notice that we did sell off, and right now we're just consolidating at these levels. So $35 is going to be the resistance to watch. And we're just in this tight range where we just consolidate sideways. And of course, a breakout over this with heavy volume is going to potentially open doors for us to retrace back up to these levels. And we can start trading over here. If we can get that successful breakout over with heavy volume. And that's going to be the resistance at $35 per share. Almost at 35. All right, so let's take a look at on Ford stock. JD, that's a great suggestion. So Ford, I was asking everybody on the other day on the live stream and what everyone thinks about Ford's F-150 Lightning, which is the electric vehicle truck. I honestly love it. I like it. I like the product. It's got a lot of utility, a lot of use case. I could see it being a very, very strong competitor of the Cybertruck and other electric vehicles. And of course, with the F-150 being the most popular vehicle in the United States, it's no surprise that they already have a lot of pre-orders. So we are, most certainly pushing higher on those pieces of news. We're up, 33%. And this actually is a chart. Let me see if I can bring that up. I don't know if I still have it. It was a very interesting chart. I may have deleted it, which if I did, I'm really stupid for doing that. Let me see if it's this one, which had like a lot of different EVs. No, this is not it. It had a lot of EVs, and it was a comparable chart that goes over like Tesla, Ford, GM. Clearly shows how Ford and GM are outperforming the entire EV space. Year to date, Ford stock is up over 68%. 68% year to date. Had you just bought this stock, you would be handsomely outperforming most stocks in the market. It's the benchmark, and at probably at 1/10 of the volatility that Ford has to offer, because the beta is not that high for Ford either. But hey, nonetheless, this got a strong product. I think they're going to do really well. So to do some fresh new technical analysis, we came down, we were forming some type of a bull flag, which you guys will see on a more clear level on the weekly chart. So the rally here, strong rally for Ford. We formed some type of a bull flag here, so we were coming down on the weekly chart, and then a huge breakout to potentially push higher. And we're almost trading at levels from 2017 to 2016. So we're almost trading at like 5-year highs for Ford, which is very, very interesting on the volume that we've never seen in the last like 5 years. The last time we saw this much volume was coming in from like 2010. So if you were to take a look at this week alone, like the last week, we traded roughly 883 million shares, almost 1 billion shares are traded for Ford last week, and this was like the last week of May. So huge catalyst there for the company. So Ford's electric Mustang tops Norway car sales in May. So Mustang's Mach-E topped Norway's car sales in May, the first full month of registrations for the crossover vehicle. Fun, faster, should I shorter Ford? It does seem a little overextended. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like on the weekly chart, we are pushing higher. So unless if you were already on this trade earlier, if you were to take advantage of the trade on the long side prior to coming out with these catalysts, Ford is up 33%. But on the weekly chart now, it's no surprise that we're seeing that overbought level on the RSI at over 74s. So that was a breakout over the bull flag, but the next resistance, of course, is going to be part of these levels somewhere at 1584. That's going to be the resistance from like a 5-year high that we saw back in 2016, right? We got rejected at this level. And Ford has historically been kind of like in this downtrend for a really long time. So you'll notice that we have just been, traded in this downtrend unless we finally kind of tilted over and Ford kind of pushed over the edge, traded all the way as low as $4, and then this has been a solid recovery now that they're tapping into the EV space. So, resistance to watch at close to $15.95, $16 per share, and this has been quite a bit of a rally. I'd be very mindful of the RSI and the MACD also moving forward. So Mas says, Tesla and NIO, what do you think? Mas, if you would do me a favor, just go back a little bit to the live stream, probably like at the beginning, and you'll see Tesla and NIO and the price action for those, and what we discussed for them. If you've covered that, we've covered in quite detail and how I feel about them. But thank you so much. What do you think shorting it? I don't know. We've known what happened when somebody goes against Elon Musk and Tesla and they start shorting it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about shorting Tesla or NIO. I would say this, like in the short term, the price. By the way, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate your support. In the short term, for Tesla's price action, I would say that I'm a little concerned, is what I've mentioned in the past as well, like earlier today. I'm more confident in NIO's price action over the short term to longer term. Like I do believe that this is going to lead to a successful trend reversal for NIO as well, and we're going to potentially see a breakout over 45 and eventually over $50 per share. For Tesla, I could sense like a drop below $600, a brief moment where we come down to 590, maybe 575, only because the NASDAQ and these higher multiple growth stocks are going to have some volatility with inflation and interest rates going into like this week, next week, and the following week. So that's the only reason why I could see some weakness from growth and higher multiple stocks. But shorting it, I mean, that would be a bit of a stretch, because then you're potentially looking for much bigger drops, and they've already happened for Tesla, in my opinion. Like from 900 to draw down all the way to lows of 539, that was a 42% drop, right? So I think that was a really good opportunity to, if you wanted to go short, if you've done the research. But in my opinion, it's, if you've already learned what has happened in the past when people have tried to short it, and being down like 35 to 40%, how much more downside that Tesla really has left? That's the real question, right? All right, so let's see if you do have anything going on. All right, so let's listen on this if there's anything interesting going on in Bloomberg.
As long as you remove the CO2.
No way around it. I mean, it's
going up too fast, or inter business cycle. We've had miscommunication that has sparked significant volatility. So I think that's an area where the Fed is trying to be much more regimented But let's face it, they haven't really started the tough discussion, which is how are they going to remove this policy accommodation and what it's going to mean at a time when the economy is already facing other constraints.
If they have to move, Laura, do they move with a Greenspanian measured approach, quarter point, quarter point, quarter point, or do they got to go back to Burns and make some real jumps, or at least one jump condition to get back to something that's in the textbooks?
You know, I think they're going to be extremely cautious. This is, of course, what they've said. And yet markets are forward looking. So, you know, we've seen markets before get ahead of themselves as far as, concerns about speed, concerns about reaction to the inflation, the mini cycle of inflation that we're going to start seeing really evolve after we get this technical glitch out of the way of
Anonymous,
year-on-year
that's great.
higher inflation.
$42 in your videos, that's awesome.
What we really need to think
Prediction
about
came
is
right on point. You're absolutely
the fact
right.
that the Fed has boxed themselves in with getting markets so addicted to this strong liquidity. And 2022 is going to be a year of deceleration. The economy is going to be strong, but it's going to be growing slower. Earnings may well be solid, but they're going to be growing slower. How's the Fed going to start removing quantitative easing in a place that's already uncomfortable for markets?
Well, before we get to the reaction function, there's also a question, Laura, of where we are right now in this cycle, both the economic and the labor cycle. And people are talking about mid-cycle. Some people are saying late cycle. Even Jim Bullard saying that perhaps the labor market is tighter than it seems. Where do you fall in this debate?
I'm firmly in the mid-cycle camp, and I would argue that what we're seeing in the labor market shows constraints that are deeply underappreciated. When he says that they're tight, I recognize that, you know, we're dealing with this labor supply mismatch. People still can't, they're tight because people are having to pay more for workers. But the labor market is the most inefficient market that we have, maybe except for real estate. And the fact that we've had significant labor migration, the fact that we've had some industries requiring much less labor where...
Right, we'll tune in on that shortly. But SPY is up 15 basis points, and QQQ is also up over 13 basis points over here. So, all right, let's take a look at Season. So, Season, not sure what that ticker symbol is going to be, but... So, SEASEN, let me know what ticker symbol that is. So One Fast Sister says, by the way, what is your name? It'd be a lot easier if you can just communicate with the name. But inflation in the U.S. is out of control right now. The news is not reporting it. That is going to be interesting for us to learn more about, because inflation is going to be the big question mark and the big number we are going to learn more about. All right, so. All right, SESN. Well, this stock has also had a bit of a rally here from lows of April. Well, that's a 10x here, right? Almost 720%. Jason, what's up? So we get that news. So today is 2 p.m. Eastern. And 4:30 p.m. Those are the two dates that I have on my calendar. I know that a lot of people are going to be watching something else too. I mean, there's not really much today, but tomorrow. I mean, these are the circled ones, are the dates to really be focused on. Mostly I put the important ones on the calendar for June 2021. But again, 3rd, 4th, 10th, 15th, and 16th. 5 dates, these times, mostly in the morning. So I will be live much earlier to break down these reports. On Friday, I'll be live at 7 a.m. Eastern. Like tomorrow, I'll be live at around 8 a.m. Eastern. And then, again, 7 a.m. Eastern here to get that OPEC monthly report, 8:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m. So we're going to learn more about the whole economy and how that's doing. All right, so SESN has seen quite a bit of a rally here. But in the past, you'll notice that this stock has actually been very flat. So it has consolidated almost exactly at these levels since 2015, 2016. So, I would be watching this exact resistance, so this range at close to 350, and that right there is going to be the support, because we are, almost exactly at that level. So, $5.97, close to $6 is going to be the resistance beyond 350 levels, and that right there is going to be the support now. So we are definitely higher at 387. So I would watch 350 as a new support for this. So if I were to kind of zoom in, that right there is going to be the new range for it. And the RSI, the MACD are, of course, almost at near overbought levels. So be very cautious, trading or investing in this as well. All right, so announces global supply partnership with Kulu Pharmaceutical. I think that was perhaps a catalyst that actually came out today. So like the last couple of weeks, let's see what they have to offer. All right, let's listen on this very quickly.
1%. Zoom has yet to miss analyst estimates since going public. But this was its smallest ever revenue beat. Joining us right now on CNBC First is Zoom's CFO, Kelly Steckelberg. Kelly's also a member of CNBC's Global CFO Council. I just called you the sort of classic pandemic company. I don't know if you like that description, Kelly.
Well, good morning. We're thrilled to have become a household name and to support businesses and communities and individuals alike during the pandemic. But we certainly have aspirations to be more. We are evolving into a platform company, which is going to become the central collaboration hub for everything that you do every day. And we're excited about the prospects, especially as we start to see communities and companies reopen and start to move around the world safely again. We'll be there to support them.
So what does that look like, though? What does the reopening look like for Zoom? Because I have to imagine people will use it less. Schools are not going to be using it as much, I imagine, in the fall. What does that do to the business?
Well, I think the thing that we all know is that we're never going back to a world the way that it was before, right? Companies are thinking about hybrid and flexibility. And what that means is Zoom is the way to accomplish that. So, of course, there's Zoom meetings, but there's also Zoom rooms. So think about, as you go back into an office in the future, I think every conference room in the future will be video enabled, and we have Zoom rooms, which is our conferencing solution for that. We have Smart Gallery, which is a great way to continue this democratization of communication that's happened over the last 15 months, where everybody's square on the screen is the same size. And Smart Gallery accomplished that through cameras placed around the room. There's also Zoom Phone, which is our cloud PBX solution, which had an amazing quarter in Q1, which enables you to take your phone number with you on your mobile device, on your laptop, wherever you are. So that's how we're going to continue to evolve to be the communications hub and platform going forward.
In terms of product innovation, are there things that you want to do that you think that you're going to need to do in a post-pandemic world?
Yeah, so we're really excited. Last week, we announced Zoom Events, which is our corporate events platform, which we've seen how virtual events have become a mainstay during the last 15 months as well. And then also later this summer, we're going to have the general availability release of Zoom Apps. And Zoom Apps are the apps that create these immersive experiences within the meetings. And we've partnered with third-party developers like ServiceNow, Asana, Dropbox, even WW and Ariana Huffington's company Thrive to create these really immersive experiences. And so those are the types of innovations that you're going to continue to see from us.
And how much of that's going to come from work that you're going to do on your own versus, as we talked about, trying to build almost an app economy on top of your service?
So it's a combination of both. We are continuing to invest in R&D as we really believe, obviously, that innovation needs to come from within the company, but also there's an amazing experience to start to leverage all the innovation of developers and app developers out there as well. And through our APIs, we also have a meeting and a video SDK, which allows developers to embed our video or meetings products into their applications. So it's going to be a combination of both as we move forward.
You have about $4 billion.
All right, so there we go. Anybody who's interested in Zoom, there's the complete analysis from the CFO herself. All All right, let's take a look at the broader markets here. Then we'll quickly tune into VIX and go over some stocks. So SPY, about 45 minutes before the open, pretty much still flat, up just over 13 basis points. The Nasdaq is also up over 11 basis points after being down over 33 yesterday. We were down much more than that, almost 85, 90 basis points yesterday before pushing higher. The volatility index, we're seeing that pullback all of a sudden down about 4% for the VIX. So that's interesting. But the support level to watch is going to be at 16 and the resistance at 20. Let me actually go ahead and mark that out. So this right here is going to be the support level to watch for the volatility at close to 14 or 15.75 and resistance at close to 20 levels. So this is actually going to be better. This is going to be flipped because, you know, green is usually when it's a green light. So for this one, it's actually going to be red because when we're hitting some type of a support, that's why we want to be alert, because that's why we could see some type of a push higher from these levels. All right, so let's take a look at some of these stocks here. So AMC, we are up another 20%, still pushing higher, trading up over $38. NEO is down almost 85 basis points. So again, we've covered NEO, we've covered Alibaba, we've covered Amazon, we've covered a lot of different stocks. So you guys are more than welcome to kind of go back to the stream, check that out, and then tune into the live stream as well. You can go back and switch it to like 1.5x or 1.75x the speed. Watch that segment and then jump over to the live stream if you want to. So Etsy up over 1.3%. And what do you guys think? Are we closing in on a green week or a red week for the Nasdaq and the S&P? Because this week, I think the only things that we're watching is the unemployment that's coming out tomorrow, the Jerome Powell's, and he's speaking, and that's about it. Crude oil, a little bit there, but nothing too crazy. I think next week is going to be the one that's super exciting. So green all the way, Alex says. Green week. All right. That's good. That's good to know. Let's take a look at GME. So GME is up another 1.2%, although we are pulling back from highs of 263. 12% move to the upside yesterday. We're still pretty elevated for GameStop as well. Not 100% sure exactly where that short squeeze is for this stock. So Corsair we covered. Baidu is going to be down about 30 basis points. Alibaba is pretty much flat. What's up, Ranjit? Thank you so much for joining in. Definitely green. Surprise good news will come out to push SPY to all-time highs. Great. Rick and Powell is speaking. Instant red. Yeah, I mean, that's been kind of like the scenario, right? In the past, every time Powell has come on board and spoken. So SPY QQ going sideways too long. Which way next? That's a great question. I think, most of the times when the markets do behave in this way, when they're just trading sideways, it's usually like an anticipation of something, and that is the economic data. So that's why we're seeing a lot of sideways consolidation, because the market is like waiting. We're like in this waiting zone. We're just like waiting for the economic data to come out, and that's when we're gonna go off. Like everyone's gonna make their own decisions. Like boom, it's inflation, it's hyperinflation, it's deflation, nothing's happening, interest rates going, and that's when everyone's gonna make their decisions, and markets are gonna go like crazy once again. But right now it's just like waiting time, like calm before the storm, so to speak. And the storm could be good, right? It could lead to like a rally too. I'm not saying storm only means bad, but it's just the calm before we're gonna get that data. All right, so nothing very eventful. 2 p.m. Just keep a close eye on the beige book. That's about it. But other than that, there's going to be specific stocks. That could move the market. So AMC and GME are definitely going to be people that are going to be watching those. But yeah, I see some really great conversations happening in the live chat. I love it. I really do. Everybody's responding to each other, so that's awesome. All right, so let's break down some stocks here very quickly. We're gonna run through. Let's see. We'll go through like 15 or 20 before the open, and then we'll do the open for a little bit. So we'll go over Shopify for our train. We'll go over Tesla very quickly for Ranjit, even though we have gone over Tesla in the past. Xpeng for Alex. All right. Live chat, if you guys want any stocks, just let me know. We'll cover like maybe 10, maybe 15 So SoFi, that's a good one. We'll cover that as well. We'll cover SPCE. Salesforce is a great one. Cover that one. Went dark. Oh, my bad. Oh, I don't know what happened. My bad. It's the shortcuts. Here, hold on. Let me 1 second. There we go. Delete. 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 All right, delete. All right, so now it should be good, right? You guys should be able to see me without any issues. Yeah, it's I have these shortcuts, and as I was typing, it switched over to something else. So I deleted those, so it shouldn't be any problems moving forward. But yeah, this might be a good way for me to mention that Patreon and Discord Weibo link is going to be down in the description below, so feel free to check that out. Is the YouTube transition for Patreon? Yes, that was it. That happened like as I was typing. But all right, so next up we've got IDEX. We got STEM, which we'll go over. So AMED, is that a different stock than AMD, or is it AMED is the actual name for that ticker? All right, let's cover these first because that's a lot of stocks. So Shopify, I think it's still going to be range bound in between 1290 and that resistance that we've talked about at 1290, right? So I do expect Shopify to see some type of a pullback with everything that's going on with the Nasdaq right now in the short term. Over the next couple of weeks, would not be surprised if you do come down to 1200 or maybe down to 1070 levels, right? Those right there are going to be two support levels. So 1290 is the resistance, and we are hitting that resistance for Shopify right now. So the last couple of days we have just gone rejected at those levels for Shopify. So support at 1200 and resistance is going to stay put at close to 1290 levels. So Tesla support is at 620 in the near term, and there's going to be another support at 590. Resistance is going to be 650. That's the level to watch. Let's take a look at XPEV. So XPeng has also been on a bit of a move here. So support at 2975, resistance at 3752. Not really much for us to go over. The delivery numbers were great that they reported over the weekend. Yes. They're also expecting, supply chain issues to be subsided going into the second half of 2021. So that is going to be the levels to watch for XPeng at 2975 and the resistance at 3750. SoFi, so they also had the merger recently, and they've been rallying quite a bit. Let's see if there's any significant news here. So came out on May 28th, 2021, social finance mergers with social capital. SoFi Tech to trade on NASDAQ from June 1st. So that's what we had. So earlier they were on ticker symbol IPOE. SoFi has raised about $2.4 billion and plans to use the cash proceeds to fuel growth via market expansion and new product developments. Now, this is a company that we have also covered quite in detail. I think this video came out I want to say a few months ago, or maybe more. This was back in December or something. But fundamentally, they've got a great business model. They're looking to upsell and cross-sell a lot of other products in the future as well, which are going to be doing. It's just a matter of being able to execute on that. Fubo, QS, Palantir. All right, so we'll cover that as well. But for SoFi, all right, so we're up a little bit over 1.5% pre-market. And the resistance, I would say, for SoFi on the day, intraday to watch is going to be roughly at 24.75. And the support level is going to be roughly at these levels at close to $18. $18 only because we have literally exactly validated that support coming in from January 26th. So that right there is going to be the support level, and of course a resistance. We've gotten rejected at that level not once but a couple times here. So it'll be kind of range bound in between these two prices, in my opinion, between $18 and the resistance at 24.75 for SoFi. So yeah, 24.75 is going to be the level to watch. All right, so next up we are going to be talking about SPCE. That's going to be Virgin Galactic. And yeah, if I have anything that's coming off, actually Netflix gaming ambitions. Let's listen on this very quickly.
I think up 70% for your shares off the pre-pandemic, or the lows of the pandemic. But if you're looking for just year to date, the stock's down more than 11%. What is Wall Street missing, or did they have this right, that really it was worth much more as people were more engaged? What do you tell investors when you're trying to tell them that right now this is a time to be jumping in?
Well, first of all, I never I don't promote the stock, and I certainly don't argue with the market. Ultimately, all securities trade on their fundamentals. If we deliver the results, then we will trade in accordance with those results. And the results of the company have largely been excellent, but we have to get up and do it again every day. I think at the end of the day, our collection of intellectual property and the revenues that we generate, the cash flow that we generate, tells the story, and the story is a really positive story, and it's a positive long-term story. Probably the most exciting thing is our investment in titles going forward. Over the next 5 years, we're bringing 93 titles to market, 21 new titles in this fiscal year, 40 in the following 2 years, and we've already said that we expect to deliver record operating results in the coming years.
Charles, we've got a couple minutes left. We can talk more about business. I needed to ask you what's the latest, what vegan stuff, or you're getting blood transfusion?
All right. Yeah, they close out really strange. They always ask these stupid questions. All right, so Virgin Galactic, support to watch. Let me actually expand this very quickly. So they also had successful third flight, which we learned about a few weeks ago. So May 29th. So Virgin Galactic Holdings files for a mixed shelf of up to 1 billion. Offering of up to 2.7 million shares, common stock, underlying outstanding warrants. And they also had so let me see. So there we go. So Virgin Galactic completes third human spaceflight, shares advance. So this was actually on May 24th, so last week of May. And we've seen that expansion. Passengers carried out revenue-generating scientific research experiments as part of NASA's Flight Opportunities Program, gathered data to be used for the final 2 verification reports. And that was one of the reasons why we did see some type of a breakout on volume 2, right? So the volume on Virgin Galactic is 131 million shares, so substantial breakout over the moving averages. It has been selling off, but I do see a successful trend reversal here. If we can continue to kind of validate those moving averages. So the resistance to watch is going to be exactly at this level coming in from December 10th, which is going to be sitting roughly at $35 per share, and support is going to be aligned with those moving averages at close to 23.31. So 23.50 levels for the support. So support at 23.50. And resistance is going to stay put at close to these $36 levels. So there is going to be a pretty substantial range here for Virgin Galactic, only because it's been quite a volatile stock. We've seen that jump of 49 to 50%. So AMC dropping. Let's take a look. So yeah, since 6 a.m., 5:55 a.m., it was at $44. We have seen that drop of over $6.38, about a 14% drop for AMC. And NEO is down about 0.5%, so we're seeing that little bit of a recovery there from NEO, and Tesla is still down about 0.5% here, and Apple is slightly up over 8 basis points. All right, so moving along, let's go over to CRM. So that's going to be Salesforce. So this right here is the complete analysis from Salesforce. We did see a gap up on earnings. So let me see if I can find the earnings for them. So Salesforce Q1 results signal strong growth momentum with sharp focus on expense control, UBS says. So first quarter shows stronger than anticipated growth momentum and signs of sharp focus on operating expense control. I mean, it's funny because Salesforce, software as a service company, their gross margins should be phenomenal. It should be really high. Backlog growth of 23% in Q1 compared with 18% the prior quarter, beats the guidance on 4 percentage points for the second quarter in a row. Salesforce results give further support to the view that front office tech spending remains stronger than back office spend. And revenue grew to 23% to $5.96 billion from a year ago, ahead of $5.89 billion estimate. So revenue beat there. Company raised its revenue and adjusted EPS guidance for fiscal year 2022 too. So raised guidance there, revenue beat, and better margin tone was reflected in the company's projection for a 30 basis point improvement in non-GAAP operating margins to 18%. That's interesting. I mean, let me take a look what their gross margins actually do look like, because if they have operating margins of 18%, they're spending a ton of money on operating expenses. So, all right, so total cost of revenue is just about $6 billion off of $22 billion in a trailing 12-month period. So 6, 12, 18, 24, that's like 25. So 75% gross margins is what they have. Yep, so 75% gross margins. But look at this, operating expenses is almost 14.6, almost twice, more than twice is what they're spending is relative to the revenue. So that is 14 divided by 22, what is that? I can't do math here, but it's gonna be more than 50%. Almost 60% is what they're spending on operating expenses here. No wonder why they're looking at cost control. But all right, so let's talk about the stock price, the downtrending channel here. Did deserve a breakout because it has been selling off quite a bit. But moving forward, it's kind of a weird chart in a support standpoint level. So I would have to recognize something like along the lines of this. So if I were to remove these trend lines, you'll notice previous support, validated resistance, back tested, coming in from December 23rd, and that's the support that we also validated yesterday. So the low for the day yesterday was 232. So that would be the support to watch for Salesforce, and the resistance at 251, or close to $250 moving forward. So support at 232 and resistance at 250 for Salesforce. All right, let's talk about IDEX. Ideanomics, I'm pretty sure we had some analysis on this, maybe on this chart. But the market's definitely pushing higher. The NASDAQ is up over 15 basis points, with SPY is almost up over 20 basis points right now. That's weird. Can you guys still see the screen? Let me know if you guys can still see the screen and hear me without any issues, because I'm having some technical issues here on my end. Screen is fine. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, that's good. So a couple more stocks that we're gonna break down very quickly, and then I'll probably have to end the live stream, and I'll have to come back once the markets are open, unfortunately. But let's talk about IDEX here. Yes, I was looking at that, Jason. Dogecoin is up over 11%, almost above, yes, over 40 cents per share. But Ideanomics, been a massive sell-off here. Support level to watch. I mean, it's been kind of in this downtrend, trading below the moving averages, and right now we are seeing that breakout over the moving averages as well. But this right here is going to be the resistance intraday at close to 315 levels. So Coinbase Pro now trading Doge. That's why, yes, I was just listening in on that from CNBC here, that they are going to be offering that to all the users. So 315 resistance to watch for Ideanomics, and support levels are going to be aligned with those moving averages. So 275 is going to be the support, and resistance is going to be at 315 for Ideanomics. All right, so next one on the list, a couple more. We've got STEM. Very similar pattern to Ideanomics. We've seen, lower highs and lower lows being formed, accelerated selling to the downside. So I'd say that we had some type of a support here, and we were forming these lower highs. So we had a descending triangle that we broke down below, and then we're now back testing or pushing higher, sort of this resistance for the stock. So we got rejected almost exactly at this level coming in from April 29th. So the resistance at $28. The support is going to stay put at close to $23 or $24. I would say, because that's the alignment with the moving averages. So 21 EMA, the 50 EMA, and the resistance at 28 moving forward for this. All right, so AMED, is that a stock or is that, all right, so this one. It looks like it's been on a really strong uptrend in the past. Wow, this is really consistent growth. You can't even identify the pandemic, the crash that we saw like back in March 2020, because this stock since 2013 from $9, it's gone up over 3,471%. What is this stock? Provision of healthcare services operates through the following business segments: home health, personal care. Home health segment delivers services in the homes of individuals who may be recovering from illness. Interesting. I might have to do some more fundamental analysis on the stock. Revenues over $2 billion. It's trading at a 42 times price to earnings, 4 times price to sales, so not too high at all. So debt is a little bit higher than the cash, but the assets are most certainly much better than. Screen disappear. Can you guys see this? All right, that's good. But yeah, this stock has just been on an absolute tear here. And where is the pullback that we saw back in March? It really didn't have any. I mean, this was the drop that we saw from $200 to $144. It's just been rallying higher. I would say that this pattern does look a little weak, because we've been validating that 21 EMA in the past like perfectly, and we're forming these lower highs also. So I would be very cautious at this support for the stock at close to like these 236 levels. At that support for AMED, and I'll definitely be adding this to my watch list to do some more analysis on this. Do some more fundamental analysis on the stock as well. All right, so quick update on the markets. I will be resuming the live stream. Once the markets are open, I am going to be taking a little bit of a break here, but nonetheless, QQQ is up 14 basis points pre-market, very muted sessions, and SPY is also up over 18 basis points. The VIX is coming down a little bit aggressively, so we're now down over 6% pre-market. And the catalyst to watch on the day, not quite that many, but the Federal Reserve's beige book's coming out, API crude oil stock, and that right there are going to be 4 or 5 days to watch moving forward. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. I will be live, hopefully. Once again, if not, then definitely, the remainder of this week, Thursday, Friday, we've got a lot of catalysts that we're going to break down on a more macro level. Quick update on AMC as well, because I know that a lot of people are going to be interested in that one today to watch, and GameStop for sure. So AMC is going to be up over 22%, so we're seeing that push higher once again. So we'll see how we open. And then this right here is going to be NEO. It's down about 60 basis points, and we are pretty much flat for Apple, Amazon, and Tesla, slightly down as well. So thank you so much for joining in. I really, really do appreciate your guys' support. Make sure that you drop a like. It really helps out the channel and pushes this stream with the YouTube algorithm as well. So I hope you guys have a great, fantastic day. As always, happy investing, and I will see you guys in the next live stream.